Today, we're honored to introduce a national portfolio artist for L'Oreal Professional, Darren Jansen. With 13 years of experience, he has honed his skills as both a professionally trained hairstylist and a self-taught barber, becoming a recognized expert in short hair. His journey in the hairstyling world is vast and varied. Beyond his role with L'Oreal, he's been sponsored by the renowned brand Wall, known for its precision tools. His passion for education is evident, and he's freelance educator for Academy and Gradient World Academy. You've likely seen him and his work on TV on CTV's Your Morning and The Social. He's also been on The Hair Expert for the Marilyn Dennis Show, styled celebrities at the Toronto International Film Festival, showcased his talent during Toronto Men's Fashion Week, and played a key role in launching the Dyson Airwrap in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, let's explore the intricate world of hairstyling with our esteemed guest.
Something in us that makes us want to do that.
Yeah.
But being on this side of it now, I'm just learning that there's more bad education than good education. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And for me, what it comes down to be at this level, what we do.
Yes.
First and foremost, your skill set has to be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody wants to learn from somebody that dishes out a shit fit.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to learn from somebody that can't cut hair well. If you can't produce the result, you have nothing to offer in terms of education.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And the second part to it is, for me, storytelling.
What's going on, man?
What up, brother?
Darren, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man. Good, man. Can't complain.
Great.
Enjoying summer.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having us here.
Of course. Welcome to the studio.
Yeah. So where are you located here?
We're here, 898 Queen Street West, right by Trinity Bellwoods.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, it's Poppin Street, Queen West, nice and busy.
Great, yeah.
So it's great, especially in the summertime.
Yeah, I remember last year, I think I was here getting a haircut from you. I think that was the last time I seen you. So, yeah, I like the beard, I like the curls.
Refreshing,
yes, sir.
I appreciate you.
Maybe start off with telling about yourself so everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
What you're about. Yeah.
So my name's Darren Jansen.
Yeah.
I've been in the game for 13 years on my birthday this year.
Awesome, yeah.
I started on my 20th birthday, so 33.
Wow.
I was just kind of like a YouTube barber, man. I was in my second year. My brother asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I didn't need clothes or anything like that. Why don't you grab me a Walmart set of clippers?
Yeah.
Comes with scissors, dinky pair of clippers, all that stuff. So I started cutting my roommates. They didn't really care what they looked like. If it looked good, rock it for a week and I try again. If it looked bad, put a hat on, try again a week later. I had to cover the bills for OSAP wasn't paying for the beer, so I had to pay for the beer somehow.
Yeah, cutting hair back and it was all cash, right?
That's
so it's
right.
it was great.
That's right. Yeah, it was the hustle. The hustle got me into it.
Yeah.
And then after that, the art, the creativity, the imagination kind of supplemented it.
For sure.
But yeah, so it started off there. YouTube was only 3 years old, so finding content was impossible. It wasn't tutorials. It was just people having fun, right?
Yeah. Who were the barbers you looked at on YouTube? Who were the guys that you were on YouTube watching?
He went by A Breezy.
A Breezy.
A Breezy the Barber.
And where was he from?
Somewhere in America.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, he's an American barber.
Yeah. And
what kind of cuts was he doing?
all the cuts I don't even do, man. Just high skin taper, skin fade,
super
and I'm
clean. Yeah.
I'm looking to just how do you take out the line between 2 and 3? I'm not even looking at skin fade.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the time, that's what got me started.
Awesome. Yeah.
From there, went to hair school after I'd kind of figured out hey, I'm not really learning much more from YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me go to hair school. So got that piece of paper, went to hair school, learned how to cut professionally, cut in color, and then just met the right people to learn how to barber. Got some really good advice from my mentor right here.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah. So put it all together, man. Running my own business for the last 5 years now.
Proud of you, bro. Yeah, you came a long way, man.
That's
from
right, man.
Cutting hair at home to keep practice. But with you always show it up. That's the thing with you. Since I met you and I remember cutting your hair a couple times at GQ back here in Ontario in Dundas. You're always asking questions, always wanted to know. You were so passionate about barbering and cutting hair that's where you are now, right? You're one of the educators for L'Oreal. What would your position be called?
So it's called a portfolio artist.
Portfolio artist.
Yeah.
What does that consist of?
You wear a couple of hats. So one, predominantly you're an educator for L'Oreal.
Okay, yeah.
So there's you teach for them and then you do stage work for them, right? So you represent the brand, doing master classes, and you go and teach. You go to cluster class where it's a bunch of salons at one location. And then 2 to 3 times a year, there's like stage work. So there's smaller ones that are like 150 to 300 people.
Yeah.
And you're kind of putting on an exhibition. Maybe just like, hey, like we're going to showcase like men's stuff, not necessarily like what's popping in men's trends. So that's one aspect. And then there's like the bigger show that happens in Montreal. Huge, man, like 600 to 800 people.
Wow, yeah.
Lights are going, music's going, there's vendors there.
Yeah.
And so there's the bigger events like that.
Do you just focus on men's hair, or do you also do women's hair like for L'Oreal, or you just cater towards?
I've carved out this niche within L'Oreal. So because in studio I do both, like I'm like a short hair expert, I would consider myself. So bobs, pixies, women's like short haircuts, and then like any men's cut from like long men's hair all the way to like a skin fade, right?
Awesome, yeah.
So hired on the men's team, but then what I started to notice was like, yo, they want to learn the men's stuff, but there's also nobody really teaching people how to do like pixies, bobs, like short women's cuts.
Yeah.
So I was like, I do this, so why don't I incorporate, let's do like just like a women's look and learn, but then like our hands-on, the meat and potatoes, like 6 out of the 8 hours is going to be spent on like a men's cut or a couple of men's cuts.
Got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And what are you spending your time, like how many hours in a day would you be spending like going to these shows and like, you know, like showcasing on stage, or a class in someone's like, you know, shop, or like how does that look for you? Like what are the hours like?
The hours, it's pretty sporadic because like we're a contractor for L'Oreal, and then I have to build out that curriculum. And for the most part now I've established myself to have the curriculums that I have.
Yeah.
Just get in touch with the salon owner. At our salon, we're a lot of juniors. Okay, so I can't talk about like some crazy level stuff, right? I got to really like take it back, but you have to really base it off of like who your clientele is. Stage work, much more involved. Like, honestly, being on stage is like the least amount of work. It's finding good models. What's the theme of the show? What's the products that we're going to be using and talking about it? Okay, let's put it all together. How many times have you practiced that look? So it's a bunch of factors that go into it.
A lot of people don't see, you know, behind the scenes and what it actually takes, but you know, you saying being on stage is like, it is putting on a show, right? So getting a good hair model, good hair, you're pretty much just showcasing that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like what qualifications do you need to join the L'Oreal Barber education team?
The barrier to entry isn't terribly high. So all you need really is like your license, more or less, right?
Okay, got you.
Experience as well. Nobody wants to take a lesson from somebody who's one lesson ahead of you, right?
Absolutely,
So you need experience and stuff like that. So in terms of like on paper what you need, probably just your license so that you know you're covered. But then what L'Oreal is looking for is the quality of you, both from a communication standpoint as well as skill set.
Got you.
Right? License and a bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like how many years in the industry after getting a hair license do you think is like a good time to get into trying to get into L'Oreal as an artist?
So
Educator,
it really depends where you're trying to end up in L'Oreal. So to get to like so let me break down the hierarchy of L'Oreal, right? So at the highest level, men's ambassador at another guy, Matthew Minvale.
Gotcha.
Thaddeus. So they are responsible for help setting the trends, creating the trends, highest level on the artistic side in L'Oreal. Very creative, that kind of a thing, right?
Awesome, yeah.
Below that is portfolio artist, where I am, and there's 3 levels of that.
Okay.
Right? So, and like,
all that hard work.
That's right, man. So those 3, portfolio artist does, is they go out and they teach the different salons what the trends are. So let's say within the men's segment.
I see, yeah.
Okay, hey, X salon, they want you to go teach them the trends that and Matthew showed you as well.
Gotcha.
Right? Training once to twice a year, Montreal for the most part.
Yeah.
Boom, come back. Now I can go to the salon and teach, right?
Cool, yeah.
And then below that is the educator. They're kind of like a TA in university where like they can't teach a class by themselves, but they can help facilitate a class. So let's say we have like way too big a class. There's like 20 students. I'll teach the class as a portfolio artist. Way too many people for me to spend my eyes on them. So I might have an artistic educator come join me so that when it comes to the look and learn, the hands-on, they're going to be able to know, hey, this is the way Darren teaches. They know the meat and potatoes of what I'm looking for, and they can help facilitate that.
Gotcha.
So there's 3 levels of that. I would say like if you're like dedicated, 3 years can get you at least at the artistic level, maybe into portfolio artist if your skill level is good enough.
Yeah.
5 years, you're good to apply for any job that you want within portfolio level or less, and you go from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man.
And what sort of advice would you give like barbers or hairstylists coming out of hairstyling school to get to that position after 3 years? Like, what should they be looking forward to working to becoming a L'Oreal, get into L'Oreal as in the brand, whether it's an ambassador, you know, someone like you who does
Portfolio artist.
Okay, gotcha.
Dude, I remember you on the barbering.
Ah, man.
I wish I started 4 years earlier.
Yeah.
And stuff, but
That was a fun time.
I just missed the trend, man.
It sucks that like that kind of like faded away, but then, you know, it's still there, but it's only in certain places that people could rock that, right?
100%.
I feel like it's big in LA, Miami. Here you would have to, like, as an artist, I guess you could do it anywhere, but it's like the sandbox is too small to get these type of clients that want to get these, you know, these styles, right?
Yeah, for sure. But to answer your question, like, I get asked the question all the time, like aspiring barbers, what, like to get to your level, what is it that you would recommend that they do, right? Your barber wants to teach for this company or start their own hair academy, like things like that, right?
Yeah.
There's something in us that makes us want to do that.
Yeah.
But being on this side of it now, I'm just learning that like there's more bad education than good education. You know what I mean? And for me, what it comes down to be at like this level, what we do, first and foremost, your skill set has to be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody wants to learn from somebody that dishes out a shit fit.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to learn from somebody that can't cut hair well. If you can't produce the result, you have nothing to offer in terms of education.
Of course, yeah.
Right? And the second part to it is, for me, storytelling. You have to be a good storyteller to be able to do this job. And it doesn't mean like you got to be like David Attenborough. But for me, when you're on your come up, you have to be able to tell stories and incorporate, let's say you're trying to sell some product. Not because you're trying to sell, you're just trying to improve that client's life. But if you're Francis, you have a dry scalp, you need to use this product because it's going to help make your scalp less dry, and this is why it's good for you. Nobody wants to buy that. They can read that on the back of a box.
Of course, yeah.
Francis, I dyed my hair 5 years ago. I found this serum that was sick. I used it in my hair. My color was like lasted longer. My scalp was not, and I haven't gotten off of it since, even though I don't have that much color in my hair anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you a story about that happened to me.
Yeah.
Now you might be like, hey, this might be the right product for me. Now when I go and teach, I'm not just going to be like, this is the technique, this is how you do it. For me, I first started learning how to do this. I had trouble with this and this and this.
Yeah.
But this is how I overcame that. And when you tell people stories, they remember things better.
Yeah.
Right? I can give somebody information, but that might go in one, out the other.
Right? I got you. Including your story is so authentic, right? Like it was something that you experienced and you're telling them from your personal experience. I think people trust you already as a barber coming to you as a stylist, right? So you're right. That whole story package, that definitely is going to sell a product because you're not even selling to them. I think this day and age, like we know when someone's trying to sell something to us.
It's so transparent.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think storytelling as an educator is so important because you are delivering information, which is as an educator. For me, it's not about who can do the best skill. It's more about who can communicate the best skill.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So through storytelling, you're going to be able to deliver information and then also help them retain it.
Yeah, and I think that's where that's what people want to hear. It's like it's always a good story. There's a reason why we're sitting here, me and you, and we're telling a story right now in front of the camera, right, on how you got to your position, how we met, you know, and today is just like another chapter in the story.
That's right.
You know, so in terms of pay, what are some of these people expecting as a L'Oreal educator, ambassador?
The pay is nice when you work for like a nice brand that takes care of you and you take care of them. Depends where you are. I broke down the hierarchy, so depending where you are, it's a different price level. But you can expect anywhere for your day rate to be anywhere from like high hundreds to the low thousands per day, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, you know, again, you got to work your way up there and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah. You got to earn your stripes, just like anything in life,
like
right?
Anything,
yeah.
Man. But like also you have to be worth that price.
Of course, yeah.
So, you know, there's money to be made, there's money on the table. And then you just got to put yourself out there, and it's you know, it's a lot based by demand. You might be at $800 a day, but if you're booked out a lot, you have a negotiating power to be like, hey, why can't I be 1,000?
Yeah, of course.
And then they're going to be open to that conversation as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it depends how good you are as as what you do, right? You're going to get paid for that, right? It makes sense. And including if a lot of people want to see you and want you and you're building up that brand and that company, it's like, why wouldn't they want to pay you more?
100%. They'd want to retain you because the more you go out to teach, the more product I'm talking about, the more I'm talking about L'Oreal. So, you know, it's this give and take, right?
There, the value's there.
Yeah.
And you're a valuable asset to them. I get it. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Got you. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people come and go in being part of the L'Oreal team or being a part of a barber shop, a hair salon, you know, all the pieces that you've been through in your career.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that L'Oreal wouldn't like in a stylist or an educator or an ambassador?
Yeah. You know what? I've been here now coming up on 7 years with L'Oreal. Yeah. There's no like strong firing, there's no strong dismissals or anything like that. You might just wait till your contract expires perhaps. But those qualities is like I find what I've seen the most of in the industry. Okay, people who complain, like, yeah, man, like this happened to me and this was awful, and like, you know, complaining gets you nowhere.
Exactly.
What does complaining get you?
It's like excuses.
It's excuses, right? It's like, well, first of all, do you want to be there? You want to show up or not, right? Second of all, are you going to do the work that it takes? What? It's not going to be exactly the way you want it to be, because from the business side, things have to operate a certain way. People who complain, like, you might not get that work order again, right?
Got you.
You voice your opinion if you have problems with something, and then you see what the solution is. Like, you don't just like talk shit. Next thing you know, hey, guess what? Nobody wants to be around that negative person, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So having a positive mindset is obviously super beneficial. You don't want to be a complainer, right? How well prepared are you, right? You could be the best educator in the world, but if you're showing up pants at your ankles, guess what? Like, that salon owner is not going to be happy. Cool. Do you have your presentation set up? Did you show up on time? These are things that you can do simply, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, you know, preparedness is one reason to stay on the team. Not being prepared, probably not going to get that call, right? Good work ethic. You want to be, you know, not a complainer, like things like that, man.
Yeah, just like things that you should be ready for any job, or ready, you know, you got to be ready for life, like every day.
You're hiring people and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I find the things that will keep people on a team versus off a team have very little skill set. It has to do with personality traits, has to do with characteristics.
Yeah.
You know, who, like, what character you have.
Yeah. I think it's just about, like, yeah, people, obviously for any organization has certain rules and regulations and things you got to follow. Yeah. Just like you're saying, like preparation, being on time, you know, showing up on time, being prepared for the day. Like, you know, if you see your schedule, most of these days it's like appointment only now, right? Or it's barely walk-ins, right? Because I think the system that we moved over to appointments than walk-ins, it's more structured and more clean throughout your day, so you can actually structure your day properly.
100%.
It sucks, I think, when a barber, for example, has a booked up day and he knows that if that client, for to say, is at 10 a.m. and he has to cut that client at 10 a.m., but everything from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. that he's booked maybe every half an hour, some 45 minutes, he knows if he's behind off like one guy, it could push back his whole schedule, and then people are going to be waiting, people are going to be complaining, you know, depending on how experienced you are, and, you know, you could catch up, but it all starts from being on time. Imagine that barber is not prepared coming in with his tools, getting the hot towels ready, doing this, doing that. That could set his whole day up. So, of course, preparation is key. Timing is key. It's
time management.
Time management. Being a team player. Like at Cadman, we've always been like, we're so high on like being a team player. Like back in the day, used to be, remember 5 and 10, GQ, DMR, where used to come. Used to be just dog eat dog. Like everyone has to fight for their own food. And it was tough living that barber life, because one person that would walk in and that barber is closest to the door and he goes, hey, wait for me. You know, some clients are like a little bit more weaker or softer, where they're going to be a little more intimidated and be like, well, this guy said I'm next, so I'm going to stick with him. Okay, I'll wait for him. If I go to the other guy who's free, he might get mad because he already. So people weren't really prepared or ready for, like, you know, like what to expect. It was just like, And some people were waiting 2.5 hours back in the day. Like they would just go out and get some Caribbean food, Granny's or like,
bro,
you know,
I
Freddy's.
got good at playing NBA 2K from sitting around the barber shop in London, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, one more guy.
Yeah.
Like, all right, LeBron James, let's go.
Yeah. So, and I remember that too, like having when you brought that up, I remember we set up like a PlayStation and we had NBA 2K11 and 12 with Rich Fades and all the other barbers back in the day. And we used to just hang out and game. And it was sad to say that all of the barbers would like actually be the ones playing the game, making the clients wait. Like that was so unprofessional.
I know, but it was a different time.
But it was a different time. So that was allowed. And today's society, like the structure and the system, I think because everyone's so much busier and they always have so many things going on in their life, right? And it's great having like some sort of structure and managed shop where there's appointments, right? So people just come in, they get their hair done and they get out and they get to go on with their day, whether they have other appointments in that day, kids, baseball, basketball, whatever it is. But yeah,
I think everybody now is so busy and caught up in their own life. They don't want to waste an extra 5 hour. It's like they want to know, I want to be here at this time. They can fit it in and know that they're on to the next thing that they're ready to do.
Oh yeah. Including with COVID, like wasted 2 years of people's lives. I think people are more like, hey, I wasted 2 years of my life. Like I can't get that back. No. My time is way more valuable now being free to, do what you want to do, right?
Yeah. You value your time after something like that happens,
like you travel a lot, you enjoy yourself outside of work, which is amazing. I think everyone should enjoy their life. It's not just about, working and slaving away, cutting hair. Like we are humans too. We need to have fun. And I think that's one thing that I want to talk about too, is that when a client thinks you're just like a slave to them, right? Don't you hate those clients that are just like, worst, they treat you like you're just like a tool that they need for them, I get it. We're in the service industry, but maybe you could like talk about that.
I can't agree more, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about two things. Listen, to a certain degree, we're here to serve, right? We're in the service industry. We're here to serve them. That's why, like, what we do here is we have virtually no rules at Nice Place Studio. The one rule that we try to abide by is you see one client and one client only, and you give them undivided attention, right?
Yes.
So some other salons, what they'll do is like they'll weave clients. So color has to process for 45 minutes, squeeze in a men's cut, finish off the color aspect, color, blow dry. I'm ready for it. It's not this big zeitgeist of like, there's like 20 people here. You didn't even make eye contact with your barber or hairstylist, So in terms of those clients, man, it's like the other big thing that I learned is the power of no. I value what I do to a certain degree. I've gotten to this level of professionalism that I know how to run this business. And so simply sometimes it's like disrespectful to me or what I'm going to do.
Absolutely,
you're disrespecting my time. You're disrespecting my skill set, right? So I might be like, no. And you know what? I generally find people that are like that, where clients don't sort of respect you, don't respect your time, or like demand more than what they should.
Yeah.
You just saying no nicely gives the respect back to you.
Of course.
You know what I mean? They're like, those are people that probably don't get no's often.
Yeah, it teaches them a lesson.
Yeah.
And then they can, they see, if they see the value, they'll respect the no and just like, I understand where you're coming from.
It's like, check yourself a little bit, right? Like,
exactly.
Your shit smells like fucking shit too. It doesn't smell like roses, right?
Yeah.
So it was like really valuable. What you're saying is, the concept of like, we both love to travel. We both work to live, I would say, right? I think I went on this like really fun trip with my buddies to Costa Rica when I was 26 years old, 27. And there's 2 surf shops. And we were there for like 4 days, and it was called Juan Surf Shop, right?
Yeah.
One guy, Costa Rica guy, blonde, surfy hair, 40s. And day 1, day 2, and 3, we go grab our boards from him. Yeah. Everything's fine and good. Take it for the day, return it, right? Yeah. He's taking care of us. How you boys doing? Oh, you guys were there yesterday. Yeah. Really personable guy. For whatever reason, like the surf that day was just like unbelievable. So we're like, yo, last day, we're ready to hit some good surf. Like, can't wait. Boom, boom, boom. We walk to the door. Closed for the day. Back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I tripped out, bro. Because I'm thinking, what do we do in North America here? Best day to sell something, right? He would have sold all of his surfboards that day.
Yeah.
Not a problem, right? We would stay open later. We would bring in more staff, overwork everybody, get more inventory. This guy's mentality was like, this is a great surf day.
So he went
surfing. Who cares about the money?
Yeah.
Who cares? Get your bread, but guess what? I'm going to be open tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage and live my life, experience this. And we saw that. We had to go all the way. We had to go 500 meters further, go get from the other place. We got our surfboards. We go surfing up a storm. We waved at him. We're like, man, we couldn't get any surfboards. He's like, sucks. He's like having a great time.
Did you end up getting a surfboard somewhere else? Or?
So we had to go like further up the road to get it. But the takeaway is like that experience. I work to live, man. I don't work to work. Like I'm gonna put in the hours. I'm gonna work hard for my life. I'm not working hard to just like work for, you know, the concept of working 50 weeks in the year to only enjoy 2 of them. You're gonna look back when you're 65 and be like, what did I do, right? You work, get your assets, build yourself up for Darren of the future. But you gotta live your life, man. You're gonna look back and regret all that time that you were behind the computer, things like that, right?
And that's the number one, like talking to a lot of like nurses and like doctors that like before anyone's like death, it's always the regrets that they say, I wish I did this, I wish I did that.
It's never, you'll never hear somebody's deathbed being, I wish I made that 10K extra.
That's it was never about money.
It's always about the people that you're surrounded by and the experiences you have, man.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Yeah, it's great. That was a great story.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. You know, networking plays like a huge vital role in the industry with 100%. Hair, barbering. How did you get into like L'Oreal, and did you connect to someone or did they come to you? How does like an aspiring barber get into that world if they're looking to network, and where should they place themselves to get into that world?
Yeah. So, I mean, L'Oreal, like first and foremost, we're opening up the men's segment. So they opened up a men's segment and it's growing and it's getting bigger, right? So first and foremost, it's like knowing like what the company that you're signing up for. So first of all, we're the biggest beauty brand in the world, right? In terms of product.
Wow, yeah.
Right? So 1. 2, we're pretty like hairstylist dominant over barber dominant. Got to know how to do both.
Gotcha, yeah.
But you got to be nice with your scissor work. You got to be nice with your finish, your blow dry, things like that, right? Got to know how to fade, but that is almost supplementary compared to the first 2.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're like, the way I kind of got in with L'Oreal was my first salon that I worked at called Brennan DeMello Studio. The 2 owners, Matt and Brennan, were ambassadors for L'Oreal.
Oh, I got you.
Right? And so then, you know, I'm out there working for the company. They know A, I like to teach, B, I'm into men's stuff. And they were just like, yo, like there's this great opportunity for you if you want it, right? We can kind of like, you know, put in a word for you, but you got to go through the process. And I was like, okay, cool. So what's the process? Phone call, get to know you, right? Then you have, so I guess it's an online application first, like what are your credentials? You make it past the credentials, okay, phone call.
Yeah.
Let's get to know you for about 20 minutes, half an hour. Are you like just the right fit? And then it's like a 1 hour like intense audition or interview. You have 20 minutes to showcase your work. It's about 15, 20 minutes of critique. They, if you want to lose your ego, they will strip you down, and I love it, man. I love just getting, I want to know all the stuff, because I know what I'm good at. I might not see what I'm bad at, right? And so from your communication skills to your skill set, they'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, which I really respect. And then the last 20 minutes of that 1 hour interview is sort of like, hey, what about the industry? Here's L'Oreal for innovative. Okay, cool. What innovations or technological innovations can you see us kind of jumping into to get ourselves better, right?
Gotcha.
So, but the best way to kind of do it is also just attend these shows. You don't have to be in the L'Oreal network to attend a L'Oreal event. Like I said, there's bigger shows. You're going to go to a hair show, and guess what? In Ontario, there's only a finite amount of people within the L'Oreal community that Ontario.
Yeah.
So if you go to 2, 3 of these shows within a year, and then they're going to be like, okay, this person has a keen interest in learning, right? And then you're going to get to know them by name, and you're going to build it out that way. So I would say attend the shows, talk to the right people. Tell me where you stand on networking, okay?
Okay.
Network with the right people to get you where you want to go to. So for example, right? I used to think, talk to everybody, anybody, everybody. The more mouths you talk to, the better, right? I thought it was a little exhausting and a lot of energy gone. And then I said, okay, let me talk to the salon owner who's responsible for like their 8 barbers or salon or stylists that need to take a class. So I could have talked to 8 people, now send me 8 clients regardless, or 8 stylists regardless, right? So that's my perspective is I'm very curated or careful to like spend my energy the right way and talk to a few of the right people to get me to where I want to go to, as opposed to talking to everybody. I can see both sides of the coin, no problem.
Of course, yeah. I'm like, that's me in my younger years, I think. It's like talking to everybody, networking as much as I can.
Yeah.
My younger self, right? Early 20s, starting barbering, starting my career. Whereas now, like where you see it, like dealing with a few people at the top or people to deal with directly, they usually have the answer. And I think that way, having the purpose, like your purpose is like, if you want to get in with the right person, well, you got to talk to the right person. You can't be talking to all these other people who are just making noise that don't know too much about what you're trying to get, right? It's like me coming to you and talking about L'Oreal, but I know you're part of the L'Oreal team. You're a big part of it, and that's why we're here talking, right? I think using your network in that sense is the right way, rather than like, we have more of like, we go back in time. We have a lot of history together. So, I'm networking with you because you have that, right? Whereas if I knew someone else that worked for L'Oreal, I'm not going to go directly to that person if, I don't have a relationship or, they're not at that position that you are in, right? So I think in your younger years, you kind of have to get that experience first too, right? And network with as many people, because it's almost like you can never close a book. You have to keep your book open to see the value, because everyone could have different types of values and different experiences that you may want to follow or like learn about, right? And I think with the way I look at barbering, the way I look at each client in the chair, it's about like getting to know them more and like being open and listening to what they have to say, because you can learn a lot from all different types of people. But yeah, of course, like getting to your question, like if the purpose is, for example, talk to the head director of L'Oreal that deals with all the color for women, I'm gonna try to contact that person, or the 2 or 3 people around her, because it's very hard to deal with a person at the very top unless you have direct contact or some sort of connection or some sort of history, right, or relationship, right? That's kind of my 2 cents on both sides.
I think
right?
we seem to be pretty aligned with it. It seems like in your 20s you got to cast that wider net. You have more energy to do it. And then also like when you're in your 20s, you're just starting, you don't have that like one contact to go to. You have to kind of get there.
Yeah, you got to grow that relationship with those contacts. That who knows if that one contact you may have when you're cutting, just say when you're 19 years old and you're cutting this one person that's 25 older than you, and all of a sudden that person might be that connect later on when they reach a certain level in life. So you treat everyone good, you treat everyone with respect, and you never know what certain people could get you eventually with the networking connections. And I think we're so lucky to be in the industry we're in, because before I came here, I was cutting the CEO of this company. Every time I talk to some of the head of staff there that I cut as well, they always tell me like, you're so lucky doing what you love and stuff like that. And you must see a lot of people in your chair and have so much good connections and relationships, and because there's so many different people from all types of workplace, all types of life coming into your chair, and you're just like networking. Like they're there in your chair and you're pretty much picking their brain and you're building a relationship. So with hair, it's like I find that's more, like there's more value than just cutting someone's hair. Yes, of course, it's about the service, making them look their best, making them look good, because that confidence after that, making them look fresh, they're just gonna always remember you. You're the guy that made them look that good.
You added value to their life.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's pretty cool how like we have that power of having such a big network, right? And barbering and hairstyling and in this industry, like your network is like powerful. I think your network could sometimes be your net worth depending on how much money you make and how much money you have. But you get what I'm saying.
One leads to the other, I'll tell you that.
Exactly. Your network could turn into your net worth that you want, right? Because you have that power. So, well, Darren, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks for having us here.